Hello guys, my name is Lars Stender. I'm a writer from Denmark who specializes in science fiction and fantasy. Today I'm here to read from my fantasy novel Mandigo and the Hellhounds. And if you want to know more about me and my work, please find me on Facebook. Mandigo and the Hellhounds, Chapter 55. Helena met Mandigo and the others just inside the door leading to the infirmary. "We can't go in there," she whispered agitatedly. "Verulia's in there. She's preparing for incoming patients before the oncoming battle. If she sees Mandigo, she'll tell Mortero." "Mortero has just come out of the keep," Jasper said. "He'll go up to the outer curtain wall in order to gain an overview over the situation," Helena said and frowned in concentration. "Let me see. I got it. The kitchen." Helena positioned herself at the door to the infirmary and looked carefully out across the inner courtyard, where there was still a lot of hectic activity. Among other things, there were servants and slaves who were positioning buckets of water in various places, so they could easily be reached in case of fire. Other slaves were in the midst of pouring water on the tree structure so they wouldn't burn as easily. In contrast, over by the big gates in the keep, everything seemed to be calm, apart from the fact that our guard posts had been augmented with a few more dracoids. "Okay, now," Helena said and waved to the others. "Hurry before they see us." Jasper lifted Mandigo and half carried, half dragged him over to the fortress courtyard. The guards looked at them, but since Helena, who was now one of the initiates, walked ahead of them, they didn't dare question it. Mortarton wasn't visible to them. Mandigo and his friends quickly continued down to the great fortress kitchen, where Gerner and his helpers were in the midst of making packages with a little bread and cheese for quick distribution among the soldiers, should the upcoming battle drag out, or if they came under siege. They stared at their youth somewhat bewilderingly, especially at Mandigo. "Hurry, get some food and water for Mandigo," Helena ordered. "Has he been wounded?" Gerner inquired. "Nope, but he needs some sustenance, now." "All right, miss, we'll find something," Gerner promised as he immediately began preparing some food and water for Mandigo, who had been seated at one of the kitchen tables by Casper and Jasper. Helena helped the cook, and soon the meal was ready. Mandigo devoured the food, gobbling it down like a famished wolf. His hands were shaking so much that he could barely hold the cup of water that had been placed before him. Outside, the noise was growing louder. "If only we knew what's going on out there," Casper said. "Maybe we can find out," Mandigo said and wiped his mouth. Then he turned to the kitchen's great hearth. There was a big pot over the fire, and steam rose up from it. "I'm going to need some crushed acacia," he said. "I've got some," Casper said, and immediately began to search in his pockets in his frock. "Do you really feel strong enough?" Helena asked in a worried tone. Mandigo merrily nodded and got up to go over to the hearth. He took the crushed acacia seeds from Casper and threw them into the pot, whereupon he made a sweeping motion with his hand. "Audlachain Thadara," he said, just as Greta had taught him. Then the steam coming from the pot split in two for a brief moment, merged again, rippled back and forth, and then separated like a curtain, and a slightly hazy image of the outside world appeared before them. The first thing Mandigo and his friends saw was Bloodstone and Mortero's soldiers on the wall. Then the enemy army became visible. "My goodness!" exclaimed Helena when she saw the huge assembly of foot soldiers, archers, and knights that were approaching Bloodstone from the south. "There must be several thousand out there." "Approximately 5,000, Mandigo mumbled as he gnawed on a haunch of venison and washed it down with more water. The others gazed at him. "How do you know that?" Mandigo shrugged. His right eye glowed like a piece of burning charcoal. "I just do," he said. "I look at the crowd and determine how much 100 people make up and multiply that by a number corresponding to the size of that host." "But can you see the whole army?" Casper asked. "I can only see some of it." "I can sense it," Mandigo answered, and gobbled down a piece of bread covered by a big lump of marmalade. He had got his color back and was getting visibly stronger by the minute. Master must have made a lot of people angry, Casper declared. People, animals, beings. My uncle has only one thought of him on his mind, and that is to get the Lord of Shadows to take over the world, and those poor fools out there wouldn't be able to stop it even if they were twice as many. What do you mean by that? The others queried. At that very moment, a noise pervaded the room like a sword slash, and a cacophony of screams cut through everyone's ears. The noise felt as though the insides of one's skull were being scratched with tiny steel claws, and even the flames in the hearth seemed to freeze at the unnatural screeching sound. "Scollux!" Mandigo grunted as he gnashed his teeth at the screaming sound that was torturing his and his friends' ears. "They are assembling and attacking the enemy army. The battle has begun." End of chapter and part 4 of the book.
Whoa! Fight! Give us some more blood. So, do anyone have some questions? Do you have some questions about your book?
Not so far.
Really?
Yeah.
You remember it?
Yeah.
Crap.
I read the manuscript first and then I wrote the book.
Damn.
Yes!
That's how I should do it.
That's how you should do it.